Usman has what it takes. He has the credentials to put away Khamzat via decision, is what I believe. But Khamzat also has what it takes to take Usman out via TKO. And I think he can even submit him. I really do. I really do.
You need to be drug tested.
I would fail.
You and me both, pal. Hey, what is up, everybody? It's Dirty and
DZAN, what is up? Viva la Mexico! Cinco de Mayo. It is Friday, bitches. Let's do this. What is up, everybody? You love the content we do on this channel. Smash that like button. Comment down below with what you want us to talk about and subscribe if you are new. Time codes are down below, but don't worry about that shit. Just watch the full thing and get all of us. Take us all in, okay? And I want you to take
drink
that
it up
how you feel to take that.
Drink it up.
Drink it up. That'll be our slogan. Dirty and DZAN, drink it up. All right, man. What is going on, Dirty D? What a week. We've had kind of a week.
Hell of a week. A lot of shit happened.
Let's get through the most negative news as usual. Let's go ahead, Dirty. Drag us all the way down to the bottom so we can scratch ourselves up to the top.
I am not going to do that today.
No? Oh, okay. Do you want to hit us with something first?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
We always kind of start out with hockey usually. So I'll make the playoff part brief. Toronto, Florida, Carolina, and the Devils all advance in the East Coast, and out west, your Avs got knocked out, like I told you they would.
That's kind of what I thought. So I'm not surprised.
It's Seattle, Seattle versus Dallas, and then Edmonton versus oh my gosh. Anyway, so we got our 8 teams in, and
we're officially in the second round now. Yeah,
we're in the second round, but then some news dropped, and that's why we covered that. The playoffs there, it's good enough.
Done.
But Ottawa Senators have been for sale for a little while, and it looks like they've got some buyers interested, and they've pieced together a Billy. And it is Ryan Reynolds' buying group, but it's also included in there is Mr. Snoop Dogg.
Woo!
I think that would be really, really dope for hockey. I really do. Pardon the pun. I really do. Because there aren't a lot of people, notoriously speaking, in the NHL that look like Snoop.
Mm-hmm.
But there are becoming more, and Snoop's interest in it was because of that reason in itself, because he's starting to see more people that look like him.
Right.
And so he's very, very interested in that. And it's being, like I said, it's being led by Ryan Reynolds, but I really think this is the proper placement for the NHL. You're going to reach a new strata of people. And quite frankly, Ottawa Senators don't have a lot of fans to begin with. So I think, seeing some of their merch come south of the border, I think it's a fantastic idea.
What's their name? Ottawa what?
Senators.
It sounds like a litigation group. It sounds like a.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Senator it's a warrior. Yeah.
They should have went with Warriors. That sounds fantastic. That's a great name.
But it's a Canadian thing. The Senators, to you and me, yes, but to Canadians, no.
Got you.
Senator
so
sounds
pretty
strange to them.
Probably sounds pretty hard out there. Like, oh yeah,
it does.
We're the Ottawa Senators, eh? You don't come messing around here. Yeah, you better watch your mouth.
What's your mouth against us?
Step across you like a moose. Yeah.
Don't talk about it that against us.
Against us. That's right.
Mental health is a motherfucker. I try not to cuss too much on the podcast here. You never know who a potential sponsor may be, but sometimes you got to say it. And mental health can be a motherfucker for a lot of people, myself included. I know, and this kind of just dawned on me. I know that there are a lot of people out there that are struggling mightily, and I think that it's just kind of a sign of the times right now. There's just a negative energy that's just surrounding all of us for whatever reason, whatever that negative energy is. You can't see it, but you know it's there. And I just wanted to put this out there, for anybody, and this is not a sales pitch, and I don't want this to be misconstrued that way. I mean this from the bottom of my heart. If anybody is struggling with anything like that, head over to Patreon, hit me up. I'll talk to you. I'll talk to anybody that wants to talk. I have to do it through Patreon because I've tried to do it through IG, but what ends up happening, and this is the unfortunate part of this, is I've had people reach out to me and say things like that, and then it's quickly followed up with a request.
Yeah.
So that's happened several times. So I have to take that one away. And I'm really sorry about that. But if you're struggling and you just need somebody to talk to, head over there. It's in the description below. Just head over there. If you just want to do it for a month, whatever, and you need to talk somebody to talk to, hit me up. I'm here.
Love it. Love it. Love it, Dirty. All right. Now, before we
I guess I should have led with that.
You should have led with that, right?
I should have led with that.
Should have led with that.
You got to bring it down.
Yeah, but now you're gonna.
I wasn't trying to bring it down though.
That's fine. It's Dirty. You know what I mean? You do it without trying, and that's what we love about you, Dirty. That's what we love about you.
Yeah. There's no plans when it comes to me. Anybody that's been on Patreon knows
like it just goes out
to fly by the seat of my pants.
Oh my gosh.
Also just real quick here. Anybody that likes Breaking Bad, we've been watching that. We're in season 4. Yeah. At the beginning stages of season 4. We're having a blast with this.
Oh yeah.
DZAN can tell you.
Oh yeah.
We're having a blast with this. It is so much fun. It's been great.
Yeah, it's fantastic to go to every Friday. Sometimes they'll hit us up with 2 episodes, but usually it's one a week.
Yeah.
And man, it's getting so good. Anybody that has already seen the series, you guys, you know what I mean? You binge and rewatch it. This is a really great way to rewatch it.
And this is my first time through. So
some of the shit that he says is really, really funny.
And I'm sure some of the shit that I say probably lets you know that I've never seen it. So
yeah,
I take guesses all the time. What's going to happen.
The last episode
never works.
I mean, the last episode he had to stop himself. He's like, you know what? I just need to stop saying shit because it's just not panning out for me.
It never works out, man.
But it's great anyway.
It seems likely at the time, but
it does. And that's what the show does to you. That's
so
what
good. The writing
show does to you.
Is so good.
So good.
And I hate watching a movie. And DZAN will tell you this. I hate watching a movie or a television show when I know what's coming.
Exactly.
You'll get me to check out like that.
Like that. Done.
Yeah. But this show,
yeah, be glued to it, man. I'm so excited. All right, now let's move on. We have a lot of MMA to discuss, Dirty D.
Word.
Bare Knuckle 41 just wrapped up. I am so glad that this sport that I have watched since the beginning is finally
he is an OG, people. The
eyes that it deserves. Everybody was talking about BKFC this weekend.
One second. I got to interrupt you.
Please.
This is very anecdotal, okay? But Kevin Shackelford, who is a patron, DZAN knows,
Mhm.
everybody knows Kevin is. He reached out to me on IG. He reaches out to me a lot. And he was so amped up for those fights. And I realized,
Oh,
man, it's starting to grow, man.
dude, it
It's
is.
starting to grow,
It
really.
is, man.
Well,
It
yeah,
is.
yeah.
It's so good. It is so good, and it is levels beyond where it was when it first started. Just like the UFC started with almost no rules, not really
Mm-hmm.
knowing how to run things, and now there's a technical way to bare knuckle box, and it's a beautiful thing to see. Really, we're just going to cover the last 4 fights. Ben Rothwell, Big Ben. Wow.
OG.
Wow. I don't know how Copeland was able to stand up the whole time, but after being beaten mercifully, he got beat bad. Okay. It was bad.
Actually, it
Battered.
was no, it would be mercilessly.
Mercilessly. Yeah. It was some with the Mercis, and it was bad.
It was all kinds of Merces out
It
there.
was Mercis everywhere. They threw in the towel. They threw in the towel.
And it had Mercis written on it.
Written all over it. Great fight. And then we had the flyweight championship bout with Fiera. Now, I made predictions. I made the 3 prediction. I was right on 2 of the 3. However, I believed I should have been right on all 3. We'll get to that.
Here's your fucking thumbnail.
Fiera versus, come on, dog. Come on. No, the thumbnail will be Conor McGregor and Mike Perry facing off.
Jesus Christ.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, Jesus Christ.
He such a stand.
He asked me to start editing, and he's having all the regrets now. He's like, why every fucking thumbnail is of Conor McGregor? What is wrong with you? But listen, Fiera did such a great job. Beck Rawlings was an OG of BKFC, but she's been out for a year, and this wasn't a hard one. She did lose via doctor stoppage, but honestly, it would have been done already. She was getting beat bad.
It was over. Yeah.
Following fight, we had one of the best. This is the way. If you want to know how you should technically fight in bare knuckle, go watch Chad Mendes versus Eddie Alvarez. These 2 men put it out there. What a war. But it wasn't one of the wars that you're like, oh my God, I can't watch, because they're just slinging away. It's sharp. Their reads, great reads, a lot of technical position work and their footwork.
The presser afterward. Did you see that?
How amazing. Sitting together.
Exactly.
Taking the questions. You won't ever see that, man. These are 2 OGs of the game.
And then Chad says, he says something to the effect of, yeah, the judges decided that I won, but the real winners in this were the fans.
We're the fans, yeah.
And that was so beautifully put.
So true. Now, Eddie Alvarez won via split decision. I did believe that Chad Mendes did enough to get the nod. I'm sorry.
One more thing.
Go ahead.
Did you hear his wife again?
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Dude,
how can he stand that?
Dude, it's been that way forever.
He's got to be hearing that all day long, every day of his life. Eddie!
And it's funny that everybody brought it up on social media now, because he's at a small enough event where you can really hear it. You're not like at a UFC pay-per-view. You can really hear her fucking screaming in the front row. Oh my God. But yeah, it sounds like bloody murder. All respect to Eddie Alvarez for getting the nod. You can't complain about that, because they just put it all out there. And then, of course, Luke Rockhold. I said Luke Rockhold was going to get knocked out in round 2. I was wrong. He quit in round 2. He got his teeth knocked out in round 2. Not only did he get his upper tooth, he got a couple of his bottom ones smashed, bro.
They're pushed back, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I know a little bit of things about missing teeth, and that shit is a bitch. This was the best part. History was made. Conor McGregor walked into the squared circle and squared off with Platinum Mike Perry, holding the BKFC belt. How good did that look strapped across his body? I bet that he took that from Lorenzo Hunt that was there that night, because he walked in there.
Is it time for music yet?
Not yet. We have about 13 more minutes about Conor. It was look, and you can see David Feldman. I want to just say, in all honesty, I am really, really happy that Conor decided to go there and give it the exposure, because he is honestly the reason why the event was talked about so much throughout the weekend. Him showing up for those last three fights, it was everything for
that
any
promo will live forever.
Oh,
First
man.
of all,
Yeah.
second of all, I would love to know the price it cost Feldman to get Conor there.
Right.
But nevertheless, it's money well spent.
Money well spent, because David didn't
will
tell him to
live
go in the ring
forever. No, he wasn't asked to. As a matter of fact, it surprisingly, very shockingly, it seemed like he was hesitating a little bit at first.
Yeah.
But
because he was just standing there and he's like, yo, can I get a face off of Conor McGregor? Yeah. And he's like, shh. And I think somebody was like, yo,
for a second there, the way Conor was in his face, though, for a second there, I thought someone's about to break off here, man. Because he's like, did you see what I did to Cowboy?
Yeah. Okay. So I heard the whole thing, and Conor went in there hot because he asked for a face off. So he went in there like, all right, bitch, let's do this. Right. But then if you heard Mike Perry's like, yeah, you know, when Cerrone took my arm, and he's like, yeah, and what did I do to him? And then Mike Perry's like, I know you knocked him out, but that's what I'm saying. You taught me a very valuable lesson. And then Conor was like, then he kind of took it back. Fast forward now to UFC 289. We just got crazy news from Dana last night.
What happened?
Juliana Peña versus Nunes is off. Peña suffered a rib injury. She had to pull out. Irene Aldana will now step up and take the fight. Let's talk about this a minute. Irene Aldana.
Talk about it, because
now listen, there is a lot of killers, okay? But let's talk about why Irene deserves this shot. The reason why I believe she deserves it, when you look at the top, number 2, Peña, she's out. We have 4, Holly Holm.
Think about that for a second. Do you know what kind of chaos that would bring?
What's that?
If Irene won.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. I just thought about that.
But I mean, so Irene Aldana,
that's going to be a mess.
I don't think it'd be that messy. I really don't. I think it opens
Juliana,
the door.
Amanda, the trilogy. It means nothing now until
the belt.
One of them get the belt back.
Right. But you also have killers. You have You have the new killer in Caitlin Vieta. Everybody wants to see her succeed.
I'm not saying it's bad at all. As a matter of fact, it's probably a good thing. But what I'm saying is that it's kind of it might become Conor and Nate trilogy thing. We just never get it.
Right. Where it's kind of up in the air. Honestly, I don't know if I'd be sad if I never got it. I don't know if that's one that I would absolutely need.
I'm not saying that it would be Conor and Nate to the level of that.
Right. Like that's like it's needed.
It's just something that because that one kind of.
I need it. We need it. Yeah. We need to see it
happen.
Yeah.
But I just don't know if it will now. But
right.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Continue. I fucked that all up. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. When you look at the last 9 fights that Irene has, she's won 7 of those last 9. Okay. 2 of those losses, Holly Holm, Raquel Pennington. Raquel Pennington is 1 above her. Okay. Now, Irene and Raquel Pennington were actually supposed to fight on May 20th. So Irene was already getting prepped for what we would think of a contender. This would be a contender bout. Whoever wins this would face the winner of Nunes Peña. So why did Irene get the shot over? Now we over Pennington. Sorry. And now Pennington is on a 5-fight win streak. She's killing it.
But
now she did face for the title. She did fight for the title before, but that was 5 years ago, almost to the date. We're talking 2018.
Was it that long ago?
Yes. Wow. May of 2018 was the last time she fought Nunes. We're talking UFC 224.
Wow, really?
24, dog. It's been too long. And I believe Raquel, she's due for another shot, right? Now, we don't know if maybe the UFC offered it to Raquel, and Raquel being smart, saying, you know what? I'm not going to take the champ on right now. I've worked really hard to get my win streak up. I'll
It could
wait
be a myriad of reasons,
because
though. That's good of you to point that
yeah,
out, because there could be a myriad of reasons why she didn't take it,
exactly.
or they didn't
And why
offer
Irene
it,
got it.
or whatever. Right.
And Caitlin, why didn't Caitlin Vieira get it? Holly's not going to get it right now. She just came back. She's on a 1-fight win streak. She just won one.
Yeah.
We don't
I
need
would
to
love
see
that,
her versus
but
Nunes yet.
yeah.
Everybody, yeah, that would be great to watch. We don't need it right now.
No,
She
it
needs
wouldn't be
new blood.
fair. Yeah.
She needs new blood. And so that's why Irene gets the shot. It's not the worst thing in the world. I'm not upset about this one being switched, because we may get another Mexican-born champion. We may get another Mexican-born champion. Can you imagine them just taking over?
That dude is so full of shit. He
But
doesn't even speak Spanish.
Hola,
Stop
inglés. I do. I know how to say yes. And Donde está el baño? That's like, where's the bathroom? I know that one.
Lo sientos. Lo sientos.
Gracias.
Hey, real quick. So my wife and I were in Mexico a couple of times, but we went about 7 years ago, 6-7 years ago. And we went to this restaurant, and it was all authentic Mexican, of course. And which I wasn't, I ate it.
Okay.
I got through it, but some of the chilies down there are a little, I love hot, and they weren't too hot. It was just the flavor of it. And I'm not a big fan of beans, but anyway, our waitress comes to the table, and I'm not a big fan, but I like pork and beans. What? Does that make any sense?
Kind of, because pork and beans are fucking delicious. That does make sense.
But that's the other thing. I have to make the pork and beans myself. I have
so
a
bougie
recipe. Yeah, I know.
Jeez, I have a recipe. Guys, he has a recipe for pork and beans.
Yeah.
You can't eat anybody else's pork and beans.
That's just stupid. But anyway, so the waitress comes to our table, and my wife, being the blonde hair, blue eyed, big boob, beautiful woman she is, she said, the lady says, "You need anything else?" And she says, "No, gracias."
She did not say gracias.
She literally said gracias.
No, gracias.
And to this day, I don't let her live that down. Every time we go to a Mexican restaurant, I'll say, "Don't forget to say gracias."
Don't forget it. Oh my God. We need to talk about Usman real quick. Usman's ready to retire because he said he wants Khamzat.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah, that is weird. And yeah, look, I don't like it.
Look,
I love Kamaru.
I love Kamaru. Love him.
And I love him as the champ. And he's the greatest welterweight of all time. This isn't smart. It's just not smart.
It's not smart when you're not on top, bud.
No, exactly.
I wouldn't take this. Yeah. I wouldn't take this fight to get. Now, granted, you win this fight, you're getting a shot. There's no question. But you could fight anybody in that top 5 and get a shot back. You've been so dominant. There's no reason why you shouldn't get another chance at it. There's no reason why.
With that said, how fucking gangster is that?
Oh, it is so G. And it, now listen, Usman has what it takes. He has the credentials to put away Khamzat via decision, is what I believe. But Khamzat also has what it takes to take Usman out via TKO. And I think he can even submit him. I really do. I really do. I do.
You need to be drug tested.
I would fail.
You and me both, pal.
Either way, we're going to be getting some more news on that soon. So we'll see what comes of it.
Stay tuned to Dirty and DZAN right here.
Yeah, right here. Coming up. Now, next we are going to cover UFC 288. Before we break that down, we need to talk real quick about Francis. Poor Francis Ngannou. he is just
Poor?
out. He is outbidding himself. Yeah, poor him. All woe is Francis, the biggest bidder. One
I have
championship
never seen anybody self-destruct their own career so badly
and quickly, so
and so
fucking
quickly.
quick. It's been 1 year. It's been
He,
it's been it's
he
been a little over a year.
sabotaged himself at every turn. There's somebody in his ear that does not have his best interests at heart.
Yeah, or a lot of people are saying it's collusion and that UFC is just blacklisting him. I don't think so. I don't think the UFC
It doesn't make
has.
any sense,
It
man.
doesn't,
They are
because
all
if
about the
Scott really
dollar.
wanted him in Bellator, he's gonna come to Bellator.
Exactly.
He already tried PFL, not gonna happen. BKFC, David said he costs too much money. I can't afford him. I want him, can't afford him.
See,
He's pricing himself out. Then he goes to one championship. They were offering him the most money. And all we can know is that it was over $1 million, which we all know that the UFC offered him 12 million to renew his contract. He would be the highest paid heavyweight. And now he's just trying to hold on to $1 million+ bid from one championship. They had a 3-hour meeting with him. And after the meeting, they decided not to go with him. What else do you have? Game bread? You gonna go to the Game Bread boxing to do it for
he's
Jorge?
gonna box. He's got to box. He has to box. That's the only avenue left.
That's all he's got left.
And this is what I'm talking about, somebody in his ear, because he's just burning bridge after bridge after bridge.
Yep.
So, whoever that person is, you need to be fired yesterday, please.
Yep. And it's only hurting it's also hurting his fans that want to see him. They're kind of not wanting to see him anymore. They're like,
right here.
Yeah, we were all over it, and now we're like, yo, he's doing it to himself. I don't care enough anymore about it.
Exactly.
It's been over a year since his last fight.
People make mistakes, and I'm all about giving somebody another chance. I'm all about it, man.
Yep.
But you can't just continually do it and think that people are just going to continue to be there to support you. At some point, you're going to fade out.
Yep. Absolutely. So
he's making costly mistakes.
We'll see what's next for Francis. A lot of people are like, he's going to come back to the UFC. He's not going to. Dana's like, no. Even if
he does come back, if he did come back, it would be at such a discounted price.
Oh yeah, I feel like we have a better chance of seeing Cyborg back in the UFC before we see Francis Ngannou back.
Probably.
That's where
we definitely have a better chance of seeing Nate Diaz back.
Yeah, than that. Absolutely. Yep. There was a lot of cancellations in 288. Charles Oliveira, Beneil Dariush, canceled. Done. Moving on to June. Bryce Mitchell, Jonathan Pierce. Done. Pierce is out. Bryce Mitchell versus Movsar Evloev. Out. Bryce Mitchell's done with a back injury. That doesn't sound very good.
No,
it doesn't. Back injury.
And that wasn't the fight to go into with a back injury either.
No, and I'm telling you right now, even if he was 100%, I love me some Bryce Mitchell, but that was about to be his second loss in a row. I'm not kidding. And now poor Diego Lopez is going to have to take that L against Evloev. Oh, I do know.
I don't know. Bryce Mitchell is a dog, man.
On the ground.
That's it. And he's
you know
so good.
And I said the same thing about Ryan Hall, and Ryan Hall is better than Thug Nasty on the ground. 1000% he is. But you're a one-trick pony. You're going to get exposed. And
I don't subscribe to that one, pal.
That's totally fine. That's totally fine.
It is.
Because you can be right or you can be dirty. Oh!
Or both.
Bam.
Oh,
that was a good one. All right, touche. But we have Evloev that will now face Diego Lopez. Now, Diego Lopez is great in and of himself on the ground, but Evloev is just too all around good, and it's not going to be a good showing for Diego. But hey, stepping up on 5 days notice. Always respect gangster. To you.
Always gangster, man.
Now let's look at this broken main card. I mean, really only 4 fights on the main card.
I don't know how they're going to sell this.
They're going to do some adjusting where they move up somebody from the prelims. It's really hard for me to listen, guys. I am one of the stupid people that buy the UFC event every month because I support the sport that I love so much. I give this company at least $1,200 a year just on the pay-per-view events alone. And this will be no different. It's very hard for me to want to do it this tier for this one, but we're still going to do it because,
I'm passing.
We got Kron Gracie making his comeback, coming back up against Charles Jourdain. That's a tough fight for Kron. It's a tough fight for Charles. I'm really, really excited that this is going to be the fight to open up the main card. It's going to be a super exciting fight to open up the main card. We have Jessica Andrade versus Yan Xiaonan. That is going to be another really good fight, but I don't see that one lasting very long.
No.
For either of the girls. I mean, either of them could finish it right away. Yeah. Yan is she's a super accurate, heavy striker. And her jabs
great jab.
So amazing.
Great jab.
Man, Yan Xiaonan, I love Yan Xiaonan. I could see her jabbing Jessica Andrade and getting a nice combo to a TKO. I can see Jessica Andrade getting her down and just ground and pounding her the hell out too. So
Jessica's looked really, really solid as of late too.
Yes.
So.
Yep. I agree with that. She really, really has. And then we have the new co-main event. They also stepped up on short notice. We have a 5-rounder versus Bilal Muhammad, Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns promises to get Bilal out, ending it within the 5 rounds.
I hope so.
I see a unanimous decision, but we could see that. Dirty, let's give our picks on the last 2. How do you see Bilal Muhammad and Gilbert Burns?
Gilbert Burns, and I'm inclined to agree with you. I think it will go the distance.
Yeah.
Gilbert's not a great closer anyway, but he is so good at everything else.
Yeah.
And as much as we both love Bilal Muhammad, I'm rooting pretty hard against him at the moment. And I'm sure the tide will change again at some point.
It will, but right now I don't want to remember the name.
Him.
I do not want to remember the name. Yeah, I want to forget it. I want to forget that name. I have Gilbert Burns via split decision. That's the way I see it. I think it's going to be a very, very close fight. I think Bilal is going to get him down, and that's how he's going to try and edge him, is by kind of getting Gilbert tired. But Gilbert is not one that's just going to sit there. He's not that kind of fighter.
I'm not calling for a split. I am saying it's a decision
unanimous.
Win.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then we have the fight that if this fight wasn't on the card, this would not be happening. Aljamain Sterling versus Henry Cejudo, Triple C. Let's talk about this one. It is a very interesting fight.
I have never been such a fan of Henry Cejudo in my life.
I'm so glad to hear that. You know, he's in my encyclopedia of goats. Where's my stinger?
All right.
Yeah.
Anyway, as you know, I'm not a fan of Triple C, but
which is weird.
I don't loathe anybody in the UFC more than Aljamain Sterling. I just loathe that dude. Listen, remember we just talked about a comeback around maybe at some point.
Right.
We kind of did that with Sugar Sean O'Malley.
Right.
I don't know that I can ever come back around to him after everything he did.
It's gross. It's so gross. It feels disgusting. Gross. Yeah.
It does. It's dirty.
When it happened, I felt
not a good dirty.
You feel for him. Yeah, not a good dirty. Not a good dirty. A really bad dirty.
A bad dirty.
You felt for him when he caught that illegal knee, when he was hesitant to take the belt, when he was very respectful. That night, you feel for him. The night that it happened, the night that he got illegally kneed. That night, you felt for him. But it didn't last long, because by midnight, he posted a photo with him smiling with the belt. And then from there on, it's just been downhill. Ever since he was kneed.
I'll never forget the layout of the kitchen.
From that photo. That's how much that photo has been circulated around.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about. It's just gross, dude. It's just gross to then change it to you are the champion and you're watching over
walking around like a gangster. Yeah.
Yeah. In the biggest stacked division. You know what I mean? Like, come on, my guy. I don't know. All of that aside, he is one of the best bantamweights in the division. Yes. But I do not believe.
Doesn't mean I got to like him.
Exactly. And I don't believe that he's deserved the spot that he's in right now.
Right.
I don't. Even after he's defended the belt twice, I don't think he deserves the shot that he's in.
Hey, if I rob a bank and I go buy a football team with the money that, I don't know how that would happen, but let's say I do.
Yeah, it's going to happen. Yeah.
Okay, let's say I buy a minor league slow pitch softball team. No matter how great of a softball team that is, the only thing people are going to remember is the fact that I robbed a bank to get it.
Yep.
That's how I feel.
That's a perfect analogy. It's like if you were to take that money, buy a car wash or something, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You do what you want. Buy a local car wash.
That's a Breaking Bad reference, guys.
All right, now that was it for UFC, MMA. That's all I got for that. Let's leave it at. I wish I would have mentioned this a little bit earlier. Did you see Izzy's video explaining his MCL tear just days before?
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Hell,
Does that
man?
not make this even more amazing? Does that not make it even more amazing?
It never disclosed it.
I can't
until
imagine.
Afterward.
I can't imagine.
Think about this. If he loses and he comes out and says that, it just hits different.
It hits different. It's like, okay.
Yeah, all right.
And some of the diehard supporters would be like, yeah, you see? You see? You know,
yeah.
It would
and then the haters will be like, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, look at him. He's making excuses.
Yeah.
But it was very, very, I'm trying to picture the mindset of Izzy going in that night when the entire world is on your shoulders. This is your moment. You have literally pushed yourself into this position. You have cornered yourself into this position. You did it. And you have to prove yourself to not everybody, to yourself, because you said you were going to do it. There is nothing more like, my biggest insecurity on the inside is proving something to myself, because you're the only one you got to answer to at the end of the day.
Exactly.
You're the one that's got to look in the mirror and feel good about yourself, or feel disgusted in yourself, feel bad, whatever it is. He put that on himself in front of everybody, was injured before the fight, and still went out there and put on the performance he did. That is why he is currently my favorite fighter. And I just can't express enough how genuinely I feel for this fucking fighter. I absolutely love Israel Adesanya, and I thought that was amazing. It had to be shared. It had to be shared.
Absolutely.
All respect to Israel, and we have a great fight coming up with him and Duplessis. That'll be a really, really good fight. Talk about
is so dense and thick in the right spots and everything. Yeah. But I have little reservations about Izzy in that one, though.
Me either. I think it's going to be a good fight for Israel.
It'll be a great
good fight for Israel.
Yeah.
It'll be a great fight.
It's not a walk in the park.
I don't like the beef going into this. And honestly, it's because it's not our culture. We don't know. We're American. The racial divide in America is very different than racial divides in other countries, and how that works culturally, how, you know what I mean? All of that. Mm-hmm. So I don't fully understand the beef between the two. For Drickies to say he is a real African, and Francis and Izzy and
I don't
Usman.
Understand the benefit of it, though.
I don't either.
Listen, there are more white people in Africa than there are black people.
Right.
So I get.
And Israel said something very, very important. I agreed with what Izzy said, but then I also was disappointed with what Izzy said. He said, coming from you who are a victim of colonization, how are you to tell me that I'm not African? You can take the boy out of Africa, but you don't take the African out of the boy. But what I agree with that. But what I don't like is for him to say, for some cracker to tell me,
right.
Because you just destroyed your point.
Exactly.
He is African. You're using a derogatory term to explain somebody who would be an Anglo-American. not an African, not an Anglo-African.
Right.
That was highly disrespectful. I do not agree with that at all, but I do agree with his point. I don't like this beef between the two. I just want to get to the fight. That's just my 2 cents on it. That's my 2 cents on it.
And I listen, I have a real problem with the term cracker. I have a real problem with it.
Yeah.
And Izzy knows better.
He does.
This is not good for his brand.
No.
And you know what, though? In all fairness to Izzy, though, he has had a really good record when it comes to relations with other people from other backgrounds. And so I'm going to give him a pass on it.
Me too. He says stuff for shock value. He says stuff for shock value too. Yeah. Remember, he's recovered before. Remember, he made that stupid crack about the Twin Towers. Said he's going to make Paulo Costa crumble like the Twin Towers.
Yeah.
Not your best one.
He apologized for that one. So
and he's not going to apologize for this one. That's the difference. And that's kind of, it leaves a bad taste in your mouth. And I don't want to see this more leading up to the fight.
Right.
I don't want to see this again.
If this was it, fine. But yeah, I don't want a bunch of this coming out of Izzy. He's going to kill his brand.
Yeah, we really don't need that. We don't need that. I was with you. Don't say that shit. You're only hurting your point. You had a really great point. All right, moving on to music. People. I said this in the last pod, and I know Mike, a longtime supporter of Dirty D and the Dirty and DZAN podcast. He agrees this is a strange rollout for Tech 9. It's very different rollout for Tech 9. With the way he kind of structured his music videos. Very different, but we just got know that his album is coming out July 14th. That's another
2
thing.
days after Dirty's birthday.
Hey, that's what's up. Little present for Dirty D.
Right on.
This is what I find weird. I don't know if he should have announced it this early. In this day and age of hip hop, everything is so quick. You announce that your album is going to be coming out in a week or two. You build that hype right away, and then it comes out. Everybody hears it. They love it. You maybe have 2 singles. I think he's given a little too much away. He gave like 3 or 4 songs away already. I think it's, it's a little like save a little something for us to digest. You know what I mean?
He's trying something new.
And I get it.
Give him alone.
And I get it. And you know what? He's at the point where he can do whatever the fuck he wants. He doesn't need to prove anything to anybody.
Facts.
And if he wants to try out something new, who are we to say don't do that, right? We just need to enjoy the music that he gives us while he's here giving it to us. And what a catalog this man has. I am very excited for this album. It is called Bliss, coming out on the 14th. And when he puts LP in front of it, it's probably going to be a 23-track banger, baby. And that's what I love.
And it's going to take Dirty 5 sessions to get through.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Those are the ones I love. When he dropped Ever Ready the Religion, it blew my wig back. I loved every track, listening to the length of it. KOD will forever be my favorite Tech 9 album. Special effects. I mean, I can go on and on and on. KOD. Respect to Tech 9. Oh, yeah, KOD. Yeah. That's up there in my top 10 rap albums of all time. I can't wait for the album. But let's talk about an album that just hit, and boy, does it bang. We have Jack Harlow with Jackman. It is a 10-track album, 24 minutes. If you have a spare half hour, go check it out. Listen, this is the day and age that we're in. A lot of the newer rappers, their tracks are anywhere from 1.5 minutes to 3 minutes max, maybe. And if it's a really personal song where they're really getting out their thoughts, you're looking at maybe a 4.5 minute track. It's very different nowadays. Jack Harlow follows that formula to a T. These tracks, I'll say, they don't blend together as well as you would see others like Lil Baby. Lil Baby is one of the best at putting out, like, it's a 20-track album, but it's like a 14-minute album. You know what I mean? Because each is like a minute, but his verses in there make you replay them. You know what I mean? And I think Jack is, he's on that way of kind of, but I don't want Jack to fill somebody else's lane. I want him to do his own thing. He's a very smooth talking rapper, and he's got a lot of swag, but he had a lot of really great, said a lot of personal shit on this album. Questions was great. Gang 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 was probably one of my favorite songs on there, talking about, you know, losing friends and that kind of stuff. And, you know, seeing them now and kind of the horrible shit that maybe your friend that used to be your best friend now has done charges for, you know what I mean? It's just like going back home, and it's very different perspective. That's what's cool about hip hop artists. You get different perspectives in every single one. Great album. Go check it out. Jackman from Jack Harlow. He said he's the hardest white boy since the one that talked about vomit on his shirt. I don't know. That'd be a pretty tough one to say. Jack, I love you, but if I got to give that crown, it'd probably be
too
NF.
many stands out there, man.
It's probably be NF. I think NF is probably the hardest white boy to come out since M. I can't, you know, there's been a lot. All right, people, that is all we have for news this week for the topics we want to cover. Did we miss something? Is there something that you wish were you screaming at the screen? Like, how did you not talk about that this week? Let us know in the comments down below. If you are new and you have made it this far, please hit that subscribe button so you can see more of this content. If you are a subscriber and have made it this long, all respect out to you. You get 3 gold stars. Come back next week for another 2. All right.
We'll give you an extra one.
We'll give you an extra one. All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
Peace.
Peace.